Are you doing stuff that pushes you out of your comfort zone? Why do you think I tell you that all the time? Because I know it expands your identity when you do things that you don't think you can do. It's what happens. When you start putting yourself in positions, ladies and gentlemen, that you are doing things that are outside of your identity, who you think you are, what labels you've put on yourself. When you start doing things opposite of that, your brain starts rewiring to stay out of your comfort zone, to go after that life, to go after your dreams. You start to see things differently, but it's through action. This is what we just talked about on Friday, those of you that were on Friday, right? You got to take that action step. You got to move forward. That creates the clarity you need, which creates the confidence and the momentum you need. Same thing Tony Robbins is saying. Again, remember, y'all, success leaves clues. A lot of times, if you keep jumping on, you're going to hear similar messages from different people. Why? Because there's only a limited amount of things that make you successful. There's not a lot of stuff. There's a limited amount of things that will make you successful. And these are habits and traits and mindsets that if you just put in place, you can thrive in your business, in your marriage, in your other relationships, in your health. And it's all the same thing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So getting these values, getting these principles, understanding these mindsets of how this works, and then applying them in your life will create success. It's the way it goes. Labels become your stories. Labels that we put on ourselves become the stories that we tell ourselves, which create an identity for us. Okay, that's how this works. The labels you've put on yourself. You know, one of the biggest labels I see just in what I do in business, people attach their job as a label, right? Like as who they are. Like I'm a nurse. Like that's who you are. No, that's what you do for work. That's not who you are. That's just. But if you tell yourself that enough, that my job is who I am, then when you remove that job, that's still your identity, even though you don't work there. Well, no one said that that was your identity. That's just what you did for work. But that's a label we placed on ourselves. We put ourselves in a box. It starts really early. It's not your fault, right? It starts really early from school that people saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Right? Like we've just learned that. So then whatever job that we have, we think that's our identity. And then when we try to break out of that identity because we're no longer happy with that life or that doesn't fit us or we're not in alignment, it's hard because that's our programming. That's why this process, y'all, is an unlearning and relearning process. You've had to learn how to condition yourself to think about your identity the way you have. Now we got to unlearn it if you want to get to a new life, if you want to get to the highest, grandest expression of yourself. So your labels become your stories, which creates your identity. We need to get to a change of identity. We need to get to a change of identity. When did you become what you call yourself now? When did you become this person? Because if you're calling yourself that, it's a past version of you. It's a past version of you. It's not the future version of you. What if you started talking about the future version of you? What if that becomes your identity? How would your life change? Tremendously. And that goes to that metaphor that he was talking about with the thermostat. I've heard Ed Milet say it similarly, but this is how our lives operate. It's off of a thermostat. So again, just reiterating what Tony Robbins just said, if you believe you're a 68 degreer, that's your identity. A 68 degreer is like, I make $70,000 a year, right? It's, I'm a faithful wife. I'm a, like, whatever that is right here, right? Like the identity you've created for yourself. When things start cooling down, right? When things are like, man, things aren't as good. Instead of making 70, I'm like in debt right now, right? I'm a healthy person, but I see myself gaining some weight. What do? We turn on the heater naturally. You don't have to like tell yourself to, like, naturally your programming for your identity is like, oh, we're not doing as good as we need to be. So you do all the things necessary to get you back to your identity. That happens in all of our lives. I'm sure all of you can relate with that. When things get really bad, you find a way to get yourself back to a place of normalcy. right? Where it feels like a little bit of comfort. It happens too on the other side. Just like Tony said, imagine life starts getting good. You start getting around some good people. You start making some money. You start doing some good things. You start having the business take off. Your health life is getting good. Then what happens? If you never changed your identity, subconsciously, you're going to sabotage yourself to get right back down. Happens in health a lot. We'll have seasons where we do something that gets us healthy because probably we felt really sick. That's probably what the catalyst was. We felt sick. We saw somebody else, right? We had a health scare. So we did all the right things. And then we got back to where we thought we needed to be. And then we got even a little bit above it. We started losing more weight than we thought. We started looking better. We started feeling better. And then after a few months or so, we kind of just stopped doing the things that got us there. You all know what I'm talking about, right? You just kind of stop doing it. You're just like, I can take a day off, and that day turns into a week, and then all of a sudden you're right back to your identity. This is what is controlling your life. The thermostat of your life is your identity. The thermostat of your life is your identity. It's what you told yourself you are. The key to getting to the life you don't need a break from, the key to getting to this next level and this next version of yourself is to raise your identity, who you believe you are, who you know you are. If you raise that, I had a mentor of mine used to always tell me, Chris, you can't out earn your identity. Your money only grows to the degree that you do as a person. If we're just talking in the money space, right? Your money cannot grow above your identity. If you believe the most you've ever made in your life is $80,000 a year, and now you want to go make $500,000 a year, your identity says, no, 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 buddy, we make 80. I know you want to go make 5, but we make 80. That's what we say. Until you start believing that you are that person. What does someone that makes $500,000 a year act like, talk like? Who do they get around? What's their schedule like? What's their mind? Like, if you start to raise your identity to be like, that is me, your money catches up. That's the way it works. People can hit the lottery, but that's why they're broke in the next 5 to 7 years, because they never raised their identity. They just came into a bunch of money. You see the same thing with athletes. If they never get mentored, if they never actually raise their identity, the money that they make after they're out of the league, they're broke again because they're back down to their identity. Identity shapes everything. You got to change that thermostat to create lasting change. And lastly, one of the things that he said is that push versus pull motivation. That push versus pull. Pushing is the willpower side. Some of us have a lot of willpower. I have a ton of willpower, but it's not enough. At a certain point in time, I get winded, right? Like I run out of gas, so that willpower isn't as strong and things slow down. But if you have something that pulls you, again, we hear this on other calls, right? What do we talk about? A big, compelling vision. Do you have something that's beyond you that pulls you in the direction of becoming better, of stepping out of your comfort zone? Like, do you have something that pulls you? This is why most people just need a mission, especially after like you get out of a job or something. Like, you just need a mission. You need something that's bigger than you to attach yourself to so that you can now start to change your life in the ways that are needed. When people don't have a mission, like I have a quote that's out there that says, like, you don't need more motivation, you need a mission. Like, you need something outside of you that's pulling you, that says, man, that's great. I'm going to go be a part of that. And it's going to pull me in the direction, right? So you got to understand your identity will expand if you fight for something bigger than you. Your identity will expand if you fight for something bigger than you. In our text, the 177 Mental Toughness Secrets, it says the great ones manufacture their own self-image. Did you think that your image, you can manufacture it? Meaning like you can create it. You get to determine the thermostat dial. Like wherever you've set this thermostat, you get to change it, just like in your actual house. Like you get to change it. But with this metaphor, like for you, it just takes more work. It takes different work. Tony Robbins just talked about, right, making sure that you are, he gave that example of him running and saying, I'm getting stronger, healthy and stronger in every way, or whatever he said, right? It's just saying something to himself over and over again while he was going through the process. We watched a video, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, where a guy was saying something similar of like, hey, he had never run this type of marathon. And then he said every time that he would say, like, I'm getting stronger or I can do it or something along those lines. This is how you start to manufacture, create your own self image. It says here, it's been said that self image is the reputation we have with ourselves. It's also been said that most of us suffer from some type of inferiority complex. The world class has overcome this problem by realizing everyone on the planet is inferior and superior to everyone in some way. They believe people have multiple intelligences depending on their personality, styles, and experiences. The artist might not be the best mechanic. The mathematician might not possess highly evolved creative faculties. Champions believe the question is not, are you smart, but how are you smart? The difference in this interpretation of intelligence is monumental. The self-image of the great ones is the foundation of their success. Say that again. The self-image of the great ones is the foundation of their success. It says champions have major league credibility with themselves. This self-confidence manifests itself in various forms, critical in their ascension to the world-class level. It affects the way they approach business, life, and other people. It determines the size and scope of their vision they create for their lives. Champions believe almost anything is within reach based on the power of their own self-image. The primary strategies the great ones use to develop a powerful self-image are self-talk and mental imagery. While amateurs are talking themselves out of attempting large goals and expansive visions, the pros are talking themselves into it. The difference doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. It is programming. It is programming the champions create for themselves. The great ones manufacture their own self-image from scratch, and so do the middle class. The primary strategies the great ones use to develop a powerful self-image, self-talk, and mental imagery. What did Tony Robbins just tell you? When he went on that run, he was self-talk, and he said that day he shifted his identity. That day, he said he found that thing by talking himself through it, by going, right? And understanding that, like, if he just did something that he didn't think was possible, it shifted his identity. It raised his identity. His thermostat went from 68 to 70 that day. And then he didn't go back down because now that's what it was set at. You have that same power, ladies and gentlemen. You have that same power to manufacture the man or woman you want to be. Like, I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that, right? So this is how we think about this. This is how you got to think about your life. This is how you got to think about getting to the life you don't need a break from. Is how do I raise my identity? Well, in here it says self-talk and mental imagery. So mental imagery, we've talked about this before, but let's just break it down to its basic level. What are you consuming? What are you consuming? Mental imagery. What are the mental pictures? What are the stories? Remember, identities lead to stories. The stories are what's in your mind. The stories are what's in your mind. So what are those things that you're holding on to that we need to figure out? Okay, I need to get some new images in my mind. I need to get some new images. I need to get images of my future life, not my past life. I need to get images of what health looks like instead of what it's been in my life. I need to get images of what success in my finances look like. I need to get images of what healthy marriage looks like, or, my relationships with my kids. Like, I need images in my mind. This is why social media, television, it distracts you because it puts images in your mind, not of those things typically. The images that we're reading, that we're taking in, that we're listening to, all that stuff, it's normally not the images that are helping us create that life that we want, creating the person that we want to become. But what if you did just consume that? What if that's all you consumed? What if all you consumed was the man or woman you want to be, and what that person would think about, and what that person would read, and what that person would listen to, and all that stuff? What if that's all you did? How would your life change? It would change tremendously. That's the mental imagery. That's the mental imagery part. We got to change what comes in our eye gates and our ear gates, because those become our thoughts. So if we want to create a new self-image for ourselves, then we got to start consuming new things. That's one. That's the mental imagery side. And then the self-talk side. We've talked about this on many calls, right? The majority of our self-talk, mine include all of us as human beings, the majority of our self-talk is negative. The majority of what we say to ourselves all the time is not rooted in something that is inspiring us, that's motivating us, that's empowering us, that's encouraging us, that's helping us feel good. That's not our normal self-talk. We're very self-critical people. That's kind of the way that it works. So if you unlearn that side and reprogram yourself with good self-talk, this is how you get to that life, right? Simone put it in the chat, right? Thank you for putting that in there. He said, I don't get tired. That runner, that marathoner, that guy that was running, he was like, I don't get tired. That's a form of self-talk. That's a form of you telling yourself the things that are opposite from what you're feeling. And that will manufacture an identity in you, a self-image in you, if you just repeat these things over and over, right? In my, I've pointed this out to you. I have a master plan to energize and focus. This is my business plan, health plan, all the stuff that's in there. In my financial plan, I think it's the last statement in there. It says, let me see if I can remember it specifically. It says, my identity is that of a person making seven figures. My net worth and income are catching up quickly. I say that to myself. My identity is that of someone making seven figures, and my net worth and my income is catching up quickly. I've said this to myself for when this was written in August of 2024. Been saying to right for over a year, and this was the fourth version, so I probably started this earlier. So over a year, I've been saying that to myself. This is the self-talk that gets you to the life that you want. This is what you got to remember, though. You got to unlearn. You got to unlearn the identity you've given to yourself in order to relearn the new identity that you want. Says here, ask this critical thinking question, the action step for today. Do I have the self-image necessary to manifest my ultimate vision of my life? If the answer is no, write down 3 world-class affirmations about your vision that will help you develop a world-class self-image. You get to manufacture your self-image. You get to create your identity. We are holding on to stories of who we've told ourselves we are, of who maybe a friend or family member told you you are. That is not you. You get a chance to create whoever you want to be. And through mental imagery, through good self-talk, through community like this, through reminders, through you consuming new things, you will then become that person. Just had this conversation with my daughter this morning. She's 8. She gets all this stuff from me. Y'all get it too, but it's easier to give it to the kids, right? Because they take it in, right? But I told her, I was like, hey, you become what you consume. You become what you read. You become what you watch. We're going to cut down some of this screen time because you're going too quickly to your iPad when I need you to be in your devotional. I need you to be in your affirmations. I need you to spend more time here because you become what you consume. Well, that's a message for all of us as adults. We become what we consume. So what are you consuming? What are you listening to? What are you watching? Who are you around? What messages are getting in? This is how we change our identity, y'all. You got to go out there and do that if you want to get to this life you don't need a break from. All right? I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. People are counting on you to take in this information and apply it so you can build the capacity you need to go off and build this life that you don't need a break from. We're all here on the journey with you. I'm proud of you for sticking along it. Do something today that scares you. Do something today that it expands your identity. It goes against who you think you are. Do that thing today and watch how your life starts changing.